everyone, and welcome back to Warping Tactics. Today we're going to look at the new objective markers in 11th edition, or more accurately, the new objective areas, and what I think this means for Grey Knights. Now, this is one of those changes that may not sound massive at first, but honestly, I think it could have a much bigger impact on the game than people first realise. So in this video, I want to quickly go through what's changing, why it matters, and then look at it specifically from a Grey Knight point of view. Objectives are no longer just little round markers that you stand next to. Instead, most objectives now seem to be tied to the terrain areas. And that is a pretty major shift because it changes how units actually interact with the board. You're not just towing onto a small circle anymore, you're fighting over actual pieces of battlefield, ruins, rubble, trees, whatever that objective area happens to be. And straight away, that makes the game feel a lot more thematic, but also a lot more tactical as well. Because now the objective is part of the terrain, not just something sitting in the open. And this is where I think it starts getting really interesting, because one of the main things Games Workshop are saying here is that many of these objectives will now offer a degree of cover to the units trying to hold them. And that alone is a big change. One of the awkward things for elite armies has always been that you often have to commit something expensive onto an objective and just leave it hanging there, hoping it survives. But if objectives are now tied into terrain areas, suddenly those units are a lot less exposed while still scoring. And on top of that, infantry that are not shooting can also make use of the new hidden rule. So now you've got this situation where units can stage around objectives much more safely than before. That is a huge deal for an army like Grey Knights, because Grey Knights do not really want to be standing out in the open and trade. They want to pick their moments, pressure the right area, and commit when it actually matters. This is probably the best example of why this is more than just a cosmetic change, because this is showing that these objective areas are now proper parts of the battlefield that units move into and control rather than just tagging a tiny marker. And from a Grey Knight's point of view, I think that makes board control a bit more interesting. On one hand, it should help elite armies, because when you do commit onto an objective, you're not just standing completely out in the open, but on the other hand, you still have to actually control the area properly, and that means movement, positioning, and timing are going to matter even more. So this is not just a free buff where elite armies suddenly become amazing at scoring. It is more that good players who know how to stage and pressure the board are probably going to get rewarded more, and this sounds very suited to the Grey Knights. The other thing we're thinking about here is that missions are apparently going to vary between 5 and 6 objectives, and that matters a lot because Grey Knight is still at heart an elite army. You're not really trying to be everywhere all at once. You do not want to spread yourself too thin, trying to hold every single point of the table. So for me, this does not mean Grey Knight suddenly becomes some kind of board flooding army. What it means is that they may be better at fighting over the important objectives, the key midfield ruin, that one staging point you need, that one objective you can safely pressure, hold, and then launch from. So I think this change potentially was selective play more than just raw body count, and that is where Grey Knight could really benefit. If the army can still play that mobile elite pressure based style, then area objectives sound like they fit that identity quite well. Is that this looks promising for the Grey Knights, not because it suddenly fixes everything, because this looks like a system that rewards smart movement, good staging, careful commitment, and fighting over the right parts of the table instead of just standing on little circles in the open. And if that ends up being how 11th edition really plays, then I think Grey Knights could actually like this change quite a lot. Obviously, we still need to see more rules before making any final calls, but as an early impression, this feels like a positive. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this is a buff for the Grey Knights, or do you think elite armies will struggle if the mission forces them to spread too far? And if you enjoy the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll keep breaking all of this down from a Grey Knights point of view. And thank you for watching the video, and see you on the next one.